Ready to Love Season 5, Episode 2. And this week, the bottom two were Ace and Tiffany. And Ace barely stayed alive by the skin of her teeth, probably because she's so nice. And Tiffany went home. But of course, we know the reason Tiffany went home is because she walked up there thinking she was the what? Let's hear it, y'all. She thought she was the buyer. Y'all know what I'm talking about because I've been talking about it and I've been beating this drum to death. So anyway, it opens up and Tiffany is sitting with Wiley because Tiffany realizes that Wiley is pretty much her only connection. He's really the only one feeling her by this episode. So she sits down having brunch with Wiley and just kind of chit-chatting. And we actually find out that Wiley is the son of Chuck Brown, which is interesting. So, Dakia called him DC royalty. So he ends up being the son of Chuck Brown. So they kind of talk about that a little bit. So we find out they're going to introduce this new guy named Cornelius, and another Cornelius, but we'll see. And so Tommy picks Ace to be the one to go out on the blind date with Cornelius. So Cornelius isn't introduced to the group all at once. So Ace goes on a blind date with Cornelius. And let me tell you about this date. Horrible. Horrible from the perspective of Ace. So first of all, they get on the date. Cornelius walks up, and the first thing Ace says, "Oh, you're so charming. Your eyes are so this. Your eyes are so that." I don't know if it's the DC market or what, but ladies, you do not have to be the first one to give a compliment. You can let the man compliment you first. I don't understand this sort of coming into a date and you have to be the first one to give all the compliments, tell the man what's so great about him. I'm telling you, that is a bad strategy. Men like to chase, men like to hunt. And all of these little subtle things that you do, I'm telling you, it makes the man realize, oh, I'm not going to have to hunt that bad for her. I'm not going to have to chase her that bad. I'm not going to have to do that much. Because it's almost like you've already come in and already said, oh, hey, you've got an advantage. So, you can lay back a little bit. I hate that. You know what? You need to let a man express interest in you first and tell you you're pretty or this before you start lathering that on and telling them. But anyway, so a lot of women are comfortable with this because a lot of women are comfortable being the buyers, like I'm telling you. So they're comfortable coming in and basically putting in offers. And when you compliment a man in the beginning, when you haven't met him or done anything, you're putting in an offer. You're basically saying, hey, this is your value because you're cute, you're charming, you're this. If you're a seller, you sit back and you wait for the compliments. Doesn't mean you're not nice. Doesn't mean you don't say thank you. Doesn't mean that you're not reciprocal and you don't say, hey, you look good too. But you're not the first one to offer up something. Stop doing this, ladies. So Cornelius is like 41. He's a real estate agent. So Ace goes right into talks to him. He's charming. He looks like he's a safe space and all this other kind of stuff. Too much too soon. So here goes Ace. Another person who thinks she's a buyer. Oh, so what are you looking for in a relationship? He ain't asked her no question yet. She goes right in on the questions, the questioning. Like I said, women talk about they don't like interviews. You know what? They do like them. They like to be the interviewer. They don't like to be interviewed, which is why Tiffany went home, and we're going to get to her. But they sure like to interview. They like to ask the questions. They like to be in the driver's seat. And let me tell you, this is not a way to get to marriage. It's not a way. It's not a road. It's not a path. Telling you it's not the path. So anyway, Cornelius answers the questions. He says, I'm looking for a long-term relationship. So he tells her, I'm looking for a long-term relationship. So he turns it back around on her. He says, okay, well, what are you looking for? Oh, I'm looking for someone to love in the way they need to be loved. What the hell is that? What is that? Some pie in the sky? What are you looking for, Ace? I'm looking for a person to love. Get a dog. If you're just looking for someone to love, go get a pet. Go get a dog. See, this tells me right here, she hasn't even thought about questions. She's so used to asking the questions. When you ask them a questions, she has these vague answers. It's like, what are you talking about, Ace? So she goes back to her one-liner. Oh, I'm into meditation. I'm in yoga. I'm things like this. So this becomes all Ace has to talk about. All she talks about is meditation and yoga. That's the extent of her conversation with everyone. This is why she's actually on the bottom of everyone. Everybody likes Ace. I would like Ace if I met her, because she's nice, she's pleasant, she's sweet, but I got to see more than you just like yoga and meditation. So there goes Ace again. So what makes you happy, Cornelius? Another question. She loved interviewing. And of course, Cornelius goes in and says, he likes sex, he likes money, he likes the ocean breeze. So Ace says, oh, so you're affectionate. See, a question. She doesn't piggyback off what he says and says, you know what? I like some of those things too. And then take that opportunity to say something about herself. She goes and asks another question. Oh, so you're affectionate. And he says, yeah, I'm affectionate. I think sex is a big part of any type of relationship. Ace has not revealed anything about herself except the fact that she likes yoga and meditation. But this whole time is asking him questions as if she is buying him, as if she is the only one vetting him and he's not vetting her. This is the problem with this strategy of you think that you are the buyer going into conversations with men. Anyway, the date ends and Cornelius says that he liked Ace because he felt that she had good energy. See, that's all he could say about her was good energy. He didn't know anything about her. All he knew was she yoga and meditation, and that's good energy. That ain't enough. So anyway, the next time that we see Cornelius interacting with Tiffani or Ace is they go to like this, I think it's like a sports bar or something, and they're playing ping pong. So it ends up being Cornelius, P.O. Paul is there, Tiffani is there, Sabrina is there, and so is Precious. So it's like three girls on the two guys playing ping pong, and P.O. is playing the girls pretty hard. I guess he used to be a ping pong championship. He ain't letting the girls get any type of ping pongs across the table. And Cornelius is making fun of him and saying, hey, you should be beating the girls, on the first round of ping pong. That ain't a way to get the girls to like you, which was cute, Cornelius. And you're absolutely probably correct. But anyway, that becomes the first interaction with Cornelius and Tiffani. So next thing you know, we see Tiffani and Cornelius go off into like a little sidebar conversation. So this is when we start seeing how Tiffani moves. So first of all, Tiffani opens up ask the conversation with a question. There you go. Like I told you, I tell you, all these women like to do the same thing. They love to be the buyers. They love to open up the conversations with their questions. I'm telling you, if you study these women and you're doing this shit out here in the real world and you're trying to, get a man, a husband or whatever else, you better stop. You better stop doing it. You better learn from these women. You better learn from their mistakes. So anyway, she says, what are you looking for? And Cornelius says, I'm looking for either a life partner or a wife. I know it was a bad answer, Tiffani. I agree with you. But she was like, oh, well, I don't know about that. I want to be a wife. I want a husband. So of course, Tiffani didn't like his answer, and Tiffani ain't feeling him. So she's asked him different questions, and because she doesn't like his answer, her energy starts to get pretty like funky like. And so Cornelius picks up on it. Cornelius picks up on the bad energy, and so when they finally end the conversation, he's like, I don't like her. Her energy is bad. You know what? And Tiffani didn't like him either, so I guess it's okay. But you know what? Tiffani didn't answer no questions from Cornelius. Tiffani asked all the questions. She summed up she didn't like him because she feels she's the buyer out here, and she basically cast him off anyway. So she didn't care. So she's left, and she told the other girl, I think it was Precious or Sabrina, whoever, you can have him. That's what she pretty much said is, yeah, you can talk to him because I'm done with him. She didn't want to have nothing to do with him. So the next time we see Tiffani again, we see Tiffani on a double. I think it's Tiffani, P.O. I can't forget who the other young lady was sitting with them. But anyway, the conversation, P.O. comes in. Let me tell you, P.O. interviews women. And women are turned off by this. They're upset about it. And because, like I said, women do not like to be interviewed. They do not like to ask questions. They like to come and ask all the questions. And what you're starting to see on this show, it really doesn't matter how the guy asks the questions. Women will say, well, I don't like to be interviewed. Like when they kicked off Fernando, I don't like these type of questions. I don't like these type of questions. But really what the women are saying is they don't like to answer questions at all. They want to ask all of the questions. So anyway, P.O. starts out trying to be a little different with his question. He says, oh, do you like spoken word? And Tiffani goes, I don't know if I really like it. She don't know how to date. She does not know how to date. But anyway, so he says, well, if you had a spoken word and you had a show or something, what would you call your show? And Tiffani was like, what kind of question is this? What kind of question is this? And so she starts to go ahead and start mocking him. So she starts to mock him and she's like, why are you asking me these kind of questions? And so he's like, okay, I guess she didn't like that question. He goes, Are you the type of person where you say thank you or hello to the grocery store clerk or something like that? So what Pio is trying to get to is I guess he wants a nice person. So he's asking these questions to sort of get to that. And you know what? I know women don't like these types of questions, but what Pio is actually saying and what he starts to talk about is, I want to see if this woman fits into my world. But Tiffani does not like it. Why are you asking me these questions? These are some crazy questions, and I don't like these questions. She will not answer the questions. And so Pio was like, you know what? Tiffani doesn't like to answer any questions, and all she wants to do is give you surface answers, or she just wants you to get to know her on the surface. You don't get to know anything about her. And here's the problem. It isn't just one person who's saying this about Tiffani. Other men are saying it. And it is true, but I don't think it's because Tiffani is shallow or all these other types of things. I think it's because she really does think that she's the buyer out here, and she thinks she's above having to ask these questions. She doesn't want to have to answer any questions about herself. She wants to do all the asking, and she wants to be able to go and say, no, I don't want this guy. I don't want this guy. Like she's grocery shopping. But unfortunately, that's not the way it works. Next time we see Ace or Tiffani is there's another double date bowling, and it's Cornelius, it's Ace, it's this new girl that got introduced. Her name is Carmen, and then there's Joy, and there's also Tori, I believe. And so they're on this sort of double date or whatever, mixture of a date, and they're bowling and everything like that. And I think Ace picks up on the vibes that, Joy and Cornelius are kind of vibing. And then she picks up on the vibe that Carmen and Tori are maybe talking or whatever, even though Carmen doesn't even like Tori because Carmen says she doesn't like dreads. But anyway, so Ace kind of goes off on her own and just goes away and sits at the bar by herself. And so Cornelius comes over and says, hey, why did you come over here? I think Ace really feels comfortable asking the questions and learning about other people. She's giving me these Shiloh vibes from last year, like she's this big empath, right? And so what she likes is asking questions. And when she's in groups where she's not able to just focus on one person and ask you 15 questions about how to get to the center of your heart, then there's nothing for her to do because she doesn't know how to engage in conversation and answer people's questions and have other types of conversations. I think it was very telling. I could easily see how Ace gets put into the friend zone because even towards the end of the show, the only people who really chose Ace as like maybe anywhere near a woman they would put in their top was Laverne. And what Laverne said about Ace was, oh, Laverne, Ace is peace. She's tranquility. She's this. He was giving her all of these adjectives. Although they were really nice adjectives, to me, they were friend zone adjectives. He even called her Oprah Winfrey. Don't nobody want to marry Oprah Winfrey. Don't nobody want to sleep with Oprah Winfrey. So although that's a compliment in terms of maybe your energy or what you do for him, it's not going to be enough to propel a person to say, hey, I would want to make you my wife. I mean, Oprah Winfrey is somebody you go and listen to at a seminar. It's someone you pay. It's like Ace is the lady at the massage, the spa, and she's in a eucalyptus room and you're closing your eyes and she's meditating and she's, reciting sweet mantras to you. Yes, she makes you feel good, but you're not going home with a masseuse. And I think that's the vibe that Ace gives. She's pleasant to be around. She probably does make a person feel calm. And what we find is Laverne has a lot of energy. So I can imagine that she settles him. But Laverne even said that he wanted an alpha female, and I don't get alpha female energy from Ace. So this tranquility he's talking about that he likes, on the one hand, he likes it because it calms him. And I think he likes it because he gets to talk all the time, because I think Ace is a listener because she likes to ask the questions. And so that he can sit there and talk all the time. So that works. But long term, he says he needs a woman that's also gonna rein him in a bit, because he says he can kind of maybe get out of line a little bit. So that's just two contradictory things. And that's why I'm saying, to me, Ace is starting to feel like she's going to be a type of person where everyone's going to like her in terms of friendship, but she's going to get friend zoned. So anyway, Ace and Tiffani ends up being the bottom two. And so Pio ends up taking Pio ends up taking Tiffani to the last day where he's going to tell her she's not ready to love. And then Wiley ends up taking Ace on a last date. So Wiley and Ace are sitting down, and Wiley basically tells Ace that, hey, Some people were feeling you and some people weren't feeling you. You know, in some people's eyes, you might have moved up and some people were saying that we should let you go. And then on the sidebar, Ace's little confessional, she says, I can't be explained. I can only be experienced. Girl, you not a Porsche, the Porsche experience. You not a Porsche. Stop all with this. Well, you better figure out how to explain yourself, because even a fancy car, a driving car, comes with a brochure. Okay, so yeah, it is an experience to drive a Bentley or a Porsche or some type of car that offers you something like that. But let me tell you, first of all, you're not giving test drives to everyone, so everyone's not going to get to experience you. Let's just say that. And second of all, even a car comes with a brochure with some words in it. So this is another word where she says, I can't be explained, which means I don't want to talk. You just need to experience me. I don't want to say nothing about myself. You just need to experience me. She puts no emphasis on selling herself. And like I told you, when you think you're the buyer, you don't feel as if you need to sell yourself. And that little confessional summed it up. I can't be experienced in words, or I can't be explained in words. I'm an experience. That means I don't need to talk, explain myself, tell nothing about you. You're supposed to just look at me, drive me, and want to take me home. Girl. So anyway, Tiffany's sitting with P.O. and boy, does he irk her. So he says, tell me something about yourself that I wouldn't know that would surprise me about you. And Tiffany once again goes in, here go with these 21 questions. Why you got to ask 21 questions? I really don't see nothing wrong with these questions. In fact, I like these type of questions because what they are is they give a person a chance to talk about your inner you. What's something that someone wouldn't know about you by just looking at you? Like me, I'm like, oh, no one would know. I'm a big Cowboys fan. I love Cowboy football. I've been a lifelong Cowboy fan. It's just something to talk about. What is wrong with it? It gives you a chance to tell people about you. So once again, you know how Tiffany deflects from wanting to ask a question? She says, why are you asking me these questions? How about you, P.O.? Do you travel? Do you have a passport? Well, guess what, Tiffany? Those are questions too. Those are questions. Do you have a passport? Where you're traveling to? Now, if he had asked you those questions, would you have been comfortable with those questions? No. You know why, Tiffany? Because you actually don't like answering questions, period. You like asking them. Because when he asked you, tell me something you wouldn't know without looking at it, you could have easily said, well, someone would know is that I love to travel and I've been to Thailand, I've been to Brazil. That would have been your opportunity to start talking and telling you where you traveled. And then you could have turned that around and say, hey, have you traveled anywhere? But see, what you don't like is that he went first. And this is what I'm telling people. When you think you are the buyer, you are offended in the dating world. You're offended when a guy starts asking you questions. It actually offends you. So when P.O. finally told her she was going home, she got all upset and she was mad. Let me tell you, that's another sign you think you're a buyer, because what you thought was you thought you could take your money. You thought you could come up in this dating environment. You thought you could purchase a man. And then what that man did was he turned down your offer and now you're mad. If you are a seller and you are basically saying, hey, I'm open for bids, put in your bids, put in your applications, I'm going to accept or decline them. When someone doesn't put in a bid for you, you're not angry. You're not angry. You know why? Because you'll have other bids coming in. It's only when you have decided you're going to take your money somewhere and it gets rejected. And the other reason why I know that she thought she was a buyer, because at the end when she got rejected and got sent home, she says, oh, well, the only reason I got sent home is because you jealous. I didn't want you. Girl, no, you didn't get sent home by one man, P.O. You got sent home by all the men, 7, 8 of them. See, that's the delusion of it all, to think that the reason why no one wants you is because of them. That's why people stay stuck where they are. They keep thinking that it's not their game plan. They keep thinking it's the people they're meeting. And so they keep the same game plan. They keep going out here with different men with the same strategy. No, ladies, it's not the man. It's just strategy. So anyway, she went home talking about, was she doing anything different? And she said, no, I wouldn't do anything different. I know she wouldn't, because she's been doing the same thing. She's 40. She's been doing the same thing for 20 years. And she probably going to continue doing it. So let her sit on over there in the corner doing that same old strategy, not want to answer no questions, not let nobody get to know her. And she wants to just ask all the questions. Bye, Tiffany. Bye.